So I was nervous, but way nervous, but I was super blessed. Like, I remember sitting in the airplane and just realizing I'd worked so hard in the MTC. I'd done really well with the language as far as pushing myself and learning it. But I remember sitting on the plane just being sick to my stomach, just like, oh my word, and switching from American flights to France, because we flew from France to Portugal, and everything was starting to be in the language or Portuguese speaking on the plane. I was just like, oh man, I can't understand it. And so the fear of like starting your mission started to hit me, and I was really nervous. But luckily, when I came off the plane, I saw a couple of people that actually went to my high school that were in my mission. I got picked up by them, and so I got to see them, and I saw some other people in the missionary office that were also from my hometown that were serving as a couple missionary there. So it was nice just to be there and see them. But I was so nervous. But one of the cool experiences I had when I first got there that just got me excited is when we got in the airport, we got greeted by the office elders and the mission president, and we went with them into the elevator, to take us to where they parked the van. And we were in the elevator. There was about 9 of us elders, and then our mission president, and all of us were like ranging from like 6 feet to 6'4". My mission president was a big man, and there was one other guy. So all these missionaries, and there was one other guy in there, and he was a small little Portuguese guy. And I remember him being surrounded by us and just looking directly at our tags. Like, he would look around, and I was like, that was the moment where I realized, I was like, I'm a representative of Jesus Christ. Like, people are beginning to notice, and it was one of the coolest things, and it got me super pumped. So even though I was nervous, especially with the language, like, I just knew, like, it's where I'm supposed to be. I can't wait to get going. And then we went to the mission home. We ate. We had this homemade lasagna. It was super good. And then we woke up the next day and met our trainers. And my trainer he's awesome. He's super positive, just a dynamite missionary, and he really was really enthusiastic. So it really made me confident and want to like serve. I'll admit though, my first transfer wasn't super hard. My first transfer was hard because I was beating myself up. I'm a perfectionist, and so when I don't do something right, I can just beat myself up, and the language was beating me up. We weren't finding people to teach, and I remember every day just beating myself up. And I just think it's so important in the mission. That's something I learned, is to stay positive, even in the face of adversity and all those things. It's so important to stay positive, because that's really honestly the way the Spirit can work with us, is by hoping and having faith that something good will come of what we're doing. And it took me a transfer to figure that out, but prayer got me through that first transfer. And like, if you really learn to depend on Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ, they'll definitely help you out, and He'll always deliver us, which is what He did that first transfer for me.
I remember vividly my first night in the hotel. I arrived, it was probably 6 at night, and I wasn't going to have my interview until about 8 at night, so my president dropped me off at the hotel with another Brazilian sister who did not speak a lick of English. And he told me that I could take a nap or do whatever I wanted until 8 o'clock when I had my interview with him, my first interview. And I just remember walking into the hotel, meeting the only other sister there, and she was Brazilian, so she spoke no English whatsoever, and I was just freaking out on the inside. I was trying so hard to speak to her from like the 6 weeks of Portuguese that I had, and I was just failing utterly, and it was so embarrassing. But I just decided, like, I'm going to try to talk to her, because this is my life for the next 18 months. But I just remember after that, after failing at trying to start a conversation with her, we went to the hotel, into the room. She went to bed, I went to bed. And then I remember waking up and forgetting that I was in the mission, and then waking up and looking outside to this like typical Portuguese street. And fear just like came over me. And I just realized, like, oh my gosh, I'm here for 18 months. This is what I'm doing. I don't speak the language. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I just remember kneeling, getting on my knees and praying to Heavenly Father, just asking Him to help me to feel okay about it, to feel peace again, because I was just feeling so anxious and so nervous, especially after the conversation that I could not speak, I couldn't do. And I just remember this feeling of peace coming over me, and Heavenly Father saying, it's going to be okay. You're going to learn the language. You'll be fine. Just trust me. And then I went to my interview with my president, and I loved him from the beginning. And then the next day I met my trainer. She was also Brazilian. She also didn't speak English, so it was a good preparation for me. But it was I specifically remember that day and remember thinking, I can't do this. And then the day after I had met my trainer, after everything, I met the president, I had an interview with him, I just realized it's going to be okay, I can do this.
So the first day was such a blur because we left the MTC really early in the morning because the flight there is really long. Like, I can't remember exactly how long, but like 10 hours or something. And so we had to leave the MTC really early. I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. and there was a mix-up with our flights. So we ended up getting there way later than the mission president was expecting. And our mission president, he was really into like, they're here, like, let's get them to work. So as soon as we got there, we went into this meeting and we were being trained. But we were all so tired. Like, I don't remember anything he said in that meeting. I was just like, whoa, I'm so tired. And after that, I had to get on a train, and I was with my senior companion, my trainer, and she was really loving, and she was like, she made it not scary, but I was just like super excited to be in Portugal. And we just kind of talked about, like, we got to know each other a little bit. And we rode on the train for like 2 hours until we finally got in our area. And it was like 11 p.m., which is really late for being out as a missionary. And the zone leaders came and they helped us get to our house because we were opening a new area. And so we didn't know where we even lived. So it was just it was a total whirlwind, but it was really exciting. And I definitely slept very well that night.